Title: The Story of P. Diddy and Donald Trump, from Friendship to Political Opposition. Imagine the lavish parties of the early 2000s, where glitz, glamour, and wealth converged. In the heart of it all stood two men: Sean P. Diddy Combs, the hip-hop mogul who transformed Bad Boy Records into a global empire, and Donald Trump, the flashy real estate tycoon who thrived on fame. Back then, they were not just faces of success, but symbols of what the American dream looked like. P. Diddy, a young, bold entrepreneur, was at the peak of his career. His fashion brand, Sean John, was making waves, and his music empire was churning out hits. He was known for his business sense, his parties, and his connections. And Donald Trump? He was a mogul whose name was synonymous with wealth. They frequented the same high-profile events: Trump Towers, Miss Universe pageants, charity galas. It was a world where wealth and fame were the common language, and both Diddy and Trump spoke it fluently. The cameras would capture their smiles and handshakes, the picture-perfect duo of business success. Diddy admired Trump's entrepreneurial savvy, and Trump, in turn, publicly praised Diddy's hustle. There was even a time when Trump appeared on Diddy's MTV show Making the Band, a sign of their cordial relationship. But this was just the beginning of their story. Mid-2000s, a muted friendship. As the years rolled on, the flashy events and mutual admiration continued. Trump was climbing higher on the celebrity ladder with The Apprentice, a show that made him a household name, while Diddy remained at the forefront of entertainment and business. They weren't best friends, but they shared a bond over ambition, wealth, and public image. Diddy, like many in the entertainment world, saw Trump as someone who, like him, had turned his brand into a massive media machine. But beneath the surface, something was beginning to change, though neither man could see it just yet. 2015, the rise of Trump as a politician. Then, in 2015, Donald Trump announced his candidacy for President of the United States. The world was stunned, and so was Diddy. The man who had once mingled with the stars of hip-hop and attended parties alongside black celebrities was now making headlines for his controversial political statements. Diddy, who had always been vocal about issues affecting the black community, started to feel the shift. Trump, now a political figure, was no longer just a businessman. He was campaigning on policies that seemed to disregard the very communities Diddy cared about. Racial tension in the US was growing, and Trump's rhetoric was stirring the pot. For Diddy, who had grown up fighting for black empowerment, Trump's words weren't just political, they felt personal.
2016.
The election that changed everything. By 2016, Trump was no longer just a candidate. He was the president-elect. Diddy remained mostly quiet during Trump's campaign, but after the election, everything changed. As Trump's presidency unfolded, Diddy could no longer stay silent. Trump's policies and responses to major issues, like the handling of race relations and police violence, were creating deep divides in America. Diddy was one of the many voices in the black community growing increasingly concerned. In an interview, Diddy said, "We're in a war. Trump's administration doesn't care about us." The man he once admired as a fellow businessman was now, in his eyes, a symbol of the growing racial tension and division in the country.
The Around 20, a call to action.
By 2020, Diddy had fully stepped into his role as an activist. He had founded Our Black Party, a political organization focused on addressing the needs of black Americans. He publicly declared, "If Trump gets elected again, we are in real danger. We need to do everything in our power to remove him from office." Diddy's activism reached its peak during the 2020 election, where he rallied his fans and the black community to vote against Trump. He endorsed Joe Biden, calling the stakes too high to stay neutral. His words were a far cry from the days when he and Trump shared the spotlight at glamorous events. Now they stood on opposite sides of the battlefield, one fighting for change, the other representing a political era that Diddy believed was harming the very foundation of equality and justice in America.
Epilogue.
The legacy of a divided relationship. And so what began as a shared journey through the worlds of wealth and fame ended in political opposition. The once friendly relationship between P. Diddy and Donald Trump dissolved as their visions for America and the world grew further apart. Today, when we think of Diddy and Trump, we see two men who carved out massive empires, but also two men who represent opposing ideals. One continues to push for Black empowerment, and the other, a polarizing figure in modern politics, is often seen as a force that reignited racial and social divides in the US. Their relationship, like many in the world of fame, was complicated, full of admiration, ambition, and eventually opposition. In the end, Diddy's story with Trump serves as a reminder. Personal connections, no matter how strong, can unravel when the worldviews shift, when the stakes become too high to ignore, and when the fight for justice becomes personal. Thank you for listening to this story. Let us know your thoughts about this complex relationship in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more storytelling content like this.